Hello everyone, Eric Odell here. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for HPE AppPulse. And I'm joined by my colleague, Alon Inditsky, who's the Senior Product Manager for AppPulse. Now during this session, we're demonstrating some exciting new features that have just come available for the HPE AppPulse Mobile Summer 2015 release. Now these new features are all about enhanced isolation, basically giving developers the ability to isolate issues that negatively impact the mobile app user experience. So we'll be talking about crash analytics, measuring the UI performance, and looking at diagnostics that help you pinpoint client-side issues. But before we get into a demo, Alon, I wanted to ask you, what are the challenges that developers are facing as they deliver quality mobile applications?
So Eric, today, just think about developers, right? Mobile apps are being put at the forefront of every organization or company we work with, right? And developer needs to, release more frequently. Continuous delivery environment, everyone is talking about DevOps, they need to roll out new versions to the App Store. So they need to make sure that they test the application before they roll out to production so they can ensure great app and great user experience in production, and everything needs to be faster because of this continuous delivery culture.
Yeah, well, Gartner talks about how there are over 2,500 mobile devices. There are over 100 different platforms, and that puts a lot of pressure on developers. And recently we did a survey on mobile app usage and abandonment, and we found that there were 3,000 mobile app users who told us that they're getting more and more intolerant and impatient with mobile applications that are causing them problems. So there was like 49% of these users who said that they expect a mobile app to respond in 2 seconds or less. Another 36% said that they would abandon an app that was hogging their battery life. And then a whopping 53% said they would delete a mobile application if it were crashing or providing error problems. So that puts the developer right in the forefront of the user experience.
Yes, absolutely, Eric. Actually, just think about the users, right? We are all using mobile devices and mobile apps. We are becoming impatient, right? We download a new app from the App Store. We expect the app to respond in less than 2 seconds. We expect the app to bring us value in less than a couple of seconds. Otherwise, we abandon the app, we exit the app, we uninstall it from the device. It's gone. So basically, the challenge for the developer is making sure that the app is stable, it's responding fast enough, right? And it's something that I want to keep using, and I get good experience out of. Otherwise, I'll just remove the app and I'll switch to the next one.
So what does AppPulse Mobile have for us today that responds to some of these issues we're talking about?
So basically, AppPulse Mobile is a solution that allows you to measure the end user experience while you're testing and while you're deploying the app in production. So basically, you're able to measure the user experience, whether it's slow user actions, slow launch, how much time does it take to launch the app? What about stability issues like crash and errors, but network errors as well as application errors that are popping up on users' devices? What about devices utilization? How much CPU, battery, and memory consumption is the app, consuming, right? So all these different things are things the developer needs to measure today. Then we need to provide him with the ability to focus on what needs to be improved to achieve a 5-star app. But then also we need also to let him fix the app, right? So we need to provide him with the actual data, with the real data that he needs, the real insights he needs in order to fix the app and improve the app in production. And then he can roll out a new version that is improving basically the user experience for the users.
So we said that AppPulse Mobile Summer release is all about enhanced isolation. Give us some examples of some of this enhanced isolation.
So when we talk about the AppPulse Mobile Summer release, think about, for example, the ability to see when the application crashed. What happened from the moment the user launched the app to the moment the application crashed? All the user flow, the end-to-end click-through, right? What about being able to identify and capture application errors that are popping up on users' devices, right? So we've just announced, the AppPulse Mobile Summer release with lots of new exciting functionality. And actually, we truly believe that allows the developer to measure the user experience, focus on what matters, and also deliver the fixes that are needed in order to improve the app in production.
Great. So why don't you show us right now a little bit of AppPulse Mobile. And for those of our users who have never seen AppPulse Mobile, let's start from the top and then drill down into the summer release.
Yeah, so Eric, this is the AppPulse Mobile dashboard, right? It's a SaaS solution, right? It's software as a service. It's deployed on the cloud. You can basically sign up for a new tenant in less than a couple of minutes, and then you can see, the different apps that you have.
Now, wait a minute. You said a couple of minutes. How do people get that done in a couple of minutes? Sometimes you hear of deployments that take days or weeks.
So actually, based on some interviews that I had with customer, customers recently. I mean, customers were mentioning it takes like up to 5 minutes, to sign up for a new tenant, get it provisioned for you on the HP Cloud platform, and then basically instrument the app. What is instrumenting the app? Instrumenting the app is basically taking a post-compiled APK file, an Android file, or an iOS project, and you just wrap it with the AppPulse mobile technology. It's one command line, it takes 2 minutes, and then once you have this wrapped version of your application, all you need to do is to upload it to the store. And then all the end user experience data from all the millions of devices that are using your application, all this data is being streamed to our SaaS platform, and then everything is visualized for you through this dashboard that we're seeing right now. So let's just focus on this specific application on the top left side of the screen. I mean, we see an Advantage mobile banking application. We can see how many users are actively working with the app. We can also see some metrics, but let's drill down and see exactly what we're talking about. So first of all, we see the Fundex. So Fundex is a single score for user experience, very unique to HP, that allows basically the application owner within the mobility team to oversee the entire app and get a single score for the end-to-end user experience. But when we see the Fundex score, currently it's 80 out of 100. So it's yellow. It's in the yellow area. It's kind of okay, but not that good. But if we want to achieve a true 5-star app, we need to improve the Fundex. But how do we do that? So when we look at the improve your Fundex part, basically we see that when we look at Fundex, we basically take into account, various aspects of user experience. That includes UI performance, so slow UI action, slow launch, stability, crashes and errors in the app, and also resources, heavy battery usage and every cellular data usage. Think about your data plan. If the app is consuming too much, bandwidth from your data plan, it's kind of an issue, right? So all these different, aspects of user experience are being taken into account while calculating the Fundex score.
Right.
But let's see in this specific example how we can quickly fix the Fundex.
Well, it looks like we lost a lot of points right here in stability. So why don't we drill down into that?
Then let's read down to stability, and we see that we lost 11 points due to stability issues. And if we go down even further, we see that 9 points out of the 11 were lost due to crashes. So let's drill down and see exactly what we're talking about here. So when we go to the stability page, first of all, we get some high-level metrics. I mean, how many users had crashes, right? What is the percentage of users that had errors? But here, when we look at crashes, it's not only that we see that the application crashed. We always know exactly what led to the crash. What was the user trying to do before the application crashed? So in this specific case, we see that the user was trying to scan a check in an online banking application. When you just get a check from your friend, you want to scan it with the camera and then deposit it into your account. So he was trying to do that. But it's not only that we're able to tell you, Eric, look, we know that this specific user action led to the crash. We also know the name of the screen and the name of the user action and the button you pressed on automatically. This is the magic behind AppPulse Mobile. We're automatically identifying all the user action names and all different screen names. Okay, we are automatically identifying the labels, and we are providing you with this data, which is something that you really need in order to reproduce everything in testing so you can fix the app later on. So let's drill down even further and see exactly what's going on here. So when we go to the next step, we can see basically some data the developer needs in order to fix the problem, right? So we can see the device state in terms of app version, OS, device, connection, memory, all different metrics from the device before the application crashed, like the last readings just before the application crashed.
And this device state, this is new to summer release?
Yeah, this is new to summer release. It was just announced in this release. And we truly believe that now, with the device state information, plus the stack trace, the specific error message the developer needs in order to know exactly what crashed. But it's not only that. We have also another new thing as part of the summer release, and this is basically automatic breadcrumbs. So basically, you can know from the moment the user launched the app, here on the left, till the moment the application crashed, what was exactly the user flow.
Now that looks like a subway map. So tell me a little bit about this timeline that we're seeing here.
About the stations, you mean, right?
Oh, yes.
So yeah, actually it's a subway map. It's a nice concept. I mean, I kind of like, this data presentation technique that we have chosen here. But basically it allows you to see exactly, Eric, what were all the user actions, okay? All the different steps and the specific screens that the user went through from the moment he launched the app to the moment the application crashed, including all the breadcrumbs in between. So once you have this data, plus you have the error log, the stack trace, plus you have all the device state, so basically you have all the data that you need. So how do we close the loop with the developer? We basically have a submit defect functionality, which is also new to the summer release, that allows you to get all this data incorporated into the ticket automatically. And you see the device state data as well as the crash trail data. And now I can submit the effect to Jira or to HPE Agile Manager and basically close the loop with the developer. They have exactly what they need in order to reproduce this same exact scenario in testing environment, fix it, and then roll a new version to production.
And reproducing that is actually key for the developer, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
so why don't we take a look at what else we've lost? Go back to the Fundex, and what did we lose here in performance, for instance?
yeah, so let's just go back to the Fundex. And as you mentioned, we have also lost some points due to some performance issues. So on the left side of the screen, let's just focus now on the UI performance aspect. And we see that 6 points were lost due to slow UI actions. So let's drill down and see. So first of all, we get some high-level metrics at the top. So what is the average UI response time of all user actions? By the way, it's 3 seconds. I would say that we need to aim for maximum of 2 seconds.
Sure.
Right? And when we talk about actions taking over 2 seconds, what is the percentage of actions taking over 2 seconds, right? We can also see how much time does it take to launch the app, right? And how much time does it take to resume the app once it's already loaded and running on the device, but in the background. Now you want to bring it to the front, how much time does it take? We can also see the latest version versus old version. So we know exactly if we have a positive trend with the latest release or do we have a regression, right? We can also filter, the different versions of my app because at any certain point in time, basically various versions of your app is running in production. Because these moments when you get the notification from Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, hey, there's a new update. Not everyone is like an early adopter and is immediately like updating the app. So we have certain versions, a couple of versions in production at any certain point in time, and we can compare between the different versions and also look at the latest versus old versions. So let's go back to the performance issues. So we see again the different screen names and the buttons and everything is automatically identified by AppPulse Mobile. No need to do any hooks and tags in the code. As we said, it's codeless and tagless. So you take post-compile app, you don't need to do anything. Everything is done automatically in less than 2 minutes. Once you got it, let's see. Everything is prioritized by the impact on the users. So how many users are affected? This is basically what prioritizes everything for me. So for example, in this specific case, I can see that users were trying to get stock quotes. Almost 2,900 users were affected by this, and it took them more than 2 seconds to do that. But if we drill down even further, we can see how the user action time, which is basically the time from the moment the user taps on something till the moment the application is fully refreshed on his device, there were a couple of network requests, network requests that are being sent to the backend. So as a developer, I can know exactly what were the specific network requests that were triggered by this specific user action. And I can see them on the timeline and see if there is any specific latency in each one of them. So I can isolate the specific backend, the specific request to the backend down to the app server level. Okay, so this is how we also allow you to fix performance issues.
Okay, Alon, so before we wrap up this demo, let's take a look at error tracking. There's a lot of mobile app users surveyed that say that errors are just as bad as crashes, and they will delete that mobile app if they're getting too many errors on their mobile application.
Yeah, if we look at the bottom part of the stability page, we've just looked at crashes, but now let's just focus on errors, right? So first of all, when we're talking about errors, there are different types of errors, right? Network as well as application. So with AppPulse Mobile, we are allowing you basically to measure both types of errors. So if it's a 400, 500 HTTP type of error, you can measure that. But you can also measure application errors, basically any message that pops up on the user device. So if we look at the table over here, we can see that every single error is basically tied and correlated to the user action that led to the error, just like with everything else in AppPulse Mobile, right? So you know exactly what was the screen, what was the specific action, and the button that the user was trying to tap on before the application, add issue and add an error. So let's just focus on this one, for example, on the money transfer one. The user was trying to transfer money from a checking account to a savings account. And he was trying to type the amount. But then he had an error. So we can drill down and see exactly what happened. We can see the specific message the user got on his device, plus also through the SDK, we have created a custom error. So as a developer, I can get this reported to AppPulse Mobile.
So Alon, thank you very much for this demonstration. And if you want to learn more about HPE AppPulse Mobile Summer Release, or even try it out for yourself, go to our website. There you will find videos to help you get started. And you can instrument your own mobile app and see AppPulse Mobile work using metrics from your own users. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.